What's up, guys? So in this episode of This Thing Broke and I'm going to try to fix it, we're talking about my RAID drives. So in my computer, you can see in my beautiful fractal design case with the AIO at a weird angle, I have multiple drives, right? So I have my main drive, which has the OS on it. That's my C drive. It's on an SSD. I have one RAID, my Velociraptor RAID. That's generally where I install all of my programs, unless it's Adobe Suite, then that typically goes on the SSD. And then I have two other RAIDs that basically contain all of my media files, so all of my videos and all of my photos. And then another one that contains more photos, but it also contains all of my client work that I do. So two of those RAIDs at this point have gone kaputski. Right, so if you can look at it here, I have the two RAIDs that I'm talking about. If my computer catches up here, is source wall, so that's my Y drive. I think you can see it right there. If this will focus, there we go. So my Y drive, which is a little bit kaput at the moment, as well as my Z drive, source wall Z. So I'm gonna focus on getting the source wall Y fixed up first. And I've been working on this for, I don't know, 2 weeks now. I was really hoping that I would be able to do this through Windows and just telling it to resync the volumes. That didn't work at all, right? So then I tried completely erasing one, reformatting it, not the quick format, the legit format, and then trying to resync the volumes. That didn't work either. It kept on saying, like, it would go for a long time and we get to resyncing at like 3%, and then nothing. It would just reset, say it failed, right? So I'm kind of at my wit's end with this. So what I did was I ended up buying an external hard drive. You can see that right here. So I bought the external, and I went ahead and copied both of my bad RAIDs to it, right? So I actually have pretty good copies of both of my RAIDs right now. And so the last thing I'm going to do before I basically take this whole thing down and try to rebuild it is I'm going to delete all the data from both the drives that comprise my RAID, and then I'm going to reformat both, not the quick format, right? So I'm gonna do the legit format. So I'm gonna do that, and then once that's done and there's no data on either, instead of trying to resync terabytes of information, I'm just gonna resync basically nothing drives, copy the information over from the external, and see if that works. Let's see. So look, at this point, it just keeps on failing. I don't think the resyncing is going to work. So I'm going to that plan of, I'm just erasing everything on it. I'm going to reformat it, copy everything over. Wait, no. I'm going to reformat, no. Then run check disk, no. Then I'm going to run format on both of them after I remove the mirror. Okay, let's try this again. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and clear everything off the drives. Once I do that, I'm going to reformat the drives. I'm going to run check disk again on both the drives. Then I'm gonna add them into a mirror with no content on them. After that's done, then I'm gonna copy over the original data from the external hard drive, and then check it again, and maybe restart my computer and see if that works. Go. Okay, so this is kind of interesting, right? So I think I said before that I already tried to resync the drives, and to do that I removed the mirror from disk 6, and then I erased everything on it, reformatted that, checked the disk, and everything was fine. Then I tried to add the mirror back, right? It didn't work. What I never tried was taking care of disk 5. And after I tried to remove the mirror from disk 5, then I'm getting that error message saying that it can't be done for whatever reason. The last healthy plex can't be removed. So maybe I'm gonna try, well, everything's already off the drive, but for laughs and giggles, let's go ahead and try to keep disk 6, let's try to keep disk 6 online. Let's take out number 5, format that, and then see if that'll work. Yeah, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna remove disk 5 from the mirror. I'm gonna reformat that. I'm gonna copy everything over to disk 6 without reformatting it, and then I'm gonna see if I'm gonna add the other mirror back, just because why not? And let's see if that works. So right now I'm feeling pretty good about where we're going, right? Because I think we're about 13% with the remirroring, reformatting. Yeah, it's reformatting the drives right now. So we're about 13%. Once that's done, hopefully the mirror will go really nicely, and then I can copy everything over. So we're gonna keep this going. So after enacting my wonderful plan and waiting all night, it's still not working, and I'm getting this error saying the plex is missing. But apparently the solution is going to the second disk that is being reported as missing, removing the mirror from that, then going to the first disk and selecting add mirror, then selecting the disk that you removed the mirror from. So let's try that. And now apparently we're in resyncing land, so we'll see if that actually takes this time. So it took a while, but it got synced. Now I'm going to copy over all my information from my external and run check disk, and hopefully this will be done. So at this point, I really cannot believe what's going on with my drives. So I broke the mirrors. I did everything everybody suggested, right? So I broke the mirrors, removed the volumes, formatted both of the drives, checked, I did a quick format. I used check disk to check it, 2 thumbs up there. I did a full format, check disk, 2 thumbs up there. I removed the mirror, from the disk that said it was missing, added the mirror back, resynced, it got to 100, started copying over data. It was about 10% into my 3 terabyte transfer, and then it just all started breaking again, and now it's unsynced to hell, right? So I'm trying to figure out what's going on here, because I used check disk, and every single time I used it, and I used it multiple times, at multiple times in the process, both drives were saying that they were okay. But once I started copying data again, then it all went to hell. So trying to figure all this out, there's got to be something wrong with one of the drives, right? And that check disk is not up to snuff. And check disk, by the way, you know, it scans a drive in like 2 seconds. So I'm not thinking that it's doing anything super meaningful there. Like, it's probably detecting stuff on the top level, but anything that's a little bit deeper than that, it's probably not working. So I did a Google search for alternatives to check disk, and somebody said check the manufacturer's website. So I found a utility over at Seagate called SeaTools. SeaTools has lots of different tests to check your drive. Some are shorter, some are longer. And I ran most of the tests on both the drives, and all of them came back fine, except when I started running this one test, which actually showed one of my disks as being a little bit defective. So I'm super stoked, because maybe either SeaTools can fix the problem, or at least I know this drive is bad, so now I can replace that drive and go about my merry way. So I'm gonna get back into SeaTools. I'm gonna see if I can't use that to fix the drive, and maybe I can finally get this RAID drive back up and running again. Boy, oh boy, so a lot to catch up on, right? So I think when we left off, I was running SeaTools, or I was gonna run SeaTools, or I did run SeaTools on all the drives in the system, right? And I ran this one test. It's some kind of short drive test or something, and it found a problem on one of the Seagate drives in that RAID. They kept on resync failing and stuff, right? I found out later, because I ran the test another 9 times, and it never reported an error again, right? But I found out that test is kind of like a random test. It tests random parts of the hard drive. So even if it finds an error or problem one time, it is certainly not guaranteed to find that same problem another time, right? So at this point, I kind of figured out there's probably something wrong with one of the drives. So I went back into Component Manager. Yeah, wherever you can see the drive and mirrors and stuff in Windows. So I went there and I right-clicked on the drive that I thought was having issues. And then when I did it, it just completely disappeared. So I could not find this drive again. So then I was trying to figure out what was going on, because you know, in SeaTools I had this one problem, can never reproduce it. I get in a Component Manager, I right click on the drive, I can't see it. So then I started opening on my computer, which you can see here, right? Maybe it's not the best view. Let me unhook this. Completely took the cover off my computer, right? And you can see I can access all of my hard drives in the back here. And I started to take apart the mirror that had the 2 drives in it that weren't working, right? And when I disconnected both drives, this one was showing up, right? So that was no problem. But when I connected the other one, which is right here, same one, right? Like same model and stuff. This one was not showing up at all, right? So I even disconnected the same SATA cables and power cables and hooked that up to what I thought was a bad drive, and just it's not being recognized anymore. I think I can still feel it spinning, but at this point I'm willing to say it's dead. So then if that hard drive is dead or failing or whatever, that would explain why that mirror just wasn't really working anymore. But then I thought, okay, maybe if that drive was failing and stuff, maybe that's why the other mirror, I don't see, whatever. Maybe it's having some kind of interference with the other one. So after I took that drive out of the system and stopped trying to play with it, the bad drive that is, I was able to resync the other mirror that had gone bad and copy over all the data, and everything is working just fine. So I think that's a good thing, right? So even though I wasn't able to repair this drive, I was thinking about this today, that's okay. Like this is exactly what the RAID mirroring, which I believe is RAID 1, is supposed to do, right? So I had my drives in a RAID. If what I think happened, one drive in the RAID started going down, and it was still good enough, or the RAID mirror was still good enough that I could copy data off of it, but it gave me an opportunity. That's a big thing. It gave me an opportunity to get the data off and then reconstruct the drive or the mirror drive later on, right? So contrast that with the scenario where I didn't have my drives mirrored. I had data on a single drive, the drive fails, and I'm kind of out of luck. So kind of sucks to have to replace a drive, but you can always replace drives, right? You sometimes can't replace data unless you do backups of it, and good backups, that's another video. So even though it's kind of a pain to go through all this and go through the efforts of trying to diagnose what was going right, what's going wrong, I think I'm gonna stick with the RAID mirror because it did its job, right? Yeah. Oh, so you can see behind me, I got the Micro Center a zillion times. I've got all these hard drives, and I think I have like 3 other internal drives, and the first one I bought I thought would be good, and it's only a 5400 RPM hard drive, so then I get 2 7200 RPM drives, and I started looking at disk cache, which these don't have a lot of, and then I looked at, well, how much space do I actually need, and then I thought, well, I'm going to be upgrading my computer anyway, so I'm probably going to end up taking a lot of this stuff back, maybe cruising off my external for a little bit, and then doing a bigger upgrade on the hard drives, both in capacity, probably maybe cache too, but certainly in capacity, and reconstructing the mirror on the new system when I get that built. So I'm calling this a wrap. If your mirrors go down, go into Component Manager in Windows. You can resync the drives. You can remove one of the drives from the mirror and then add it back if you're getting an error message about Plex. And then if all else fails, you can still have access to the data. Probably what you do first, copy the data to some other drive, right? External, another internal, or whatever, while you're doing work on those mirrors that might have gone down, because you never know what's gonna happen. So yeah, that's my advice. Go RAID, go mirror. Why not? To help me out, it can help you out.